Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting the Toronto Raptors 122-118 win against the Washington Wizards, and this game was weird. This game was a weird one for the Toronto Raptors. They started off, absolutely killed Washington in the first quarter. We're up 40-23 after the first, and then they kind of let the Wizards creep back in, and then you were watching this game, you're kind of tuning it out a little bit, because when the Raptors are up against an inferior opponent, they usually hold on to the W, and yeah, slowly the Wizards crept back, and they ended up having a tie game down the stretch of this one. The Raptors obviously pulled it out, but this was weird. This is a weird game. We're going to break straight into it. Obviously, tonight was the first game after that horrible, depleting Detroit loss, where we lost not just Norman Powell and Marc Gasol, who obviously it was notable when they were taken out, but Pascal Siakam also suffered a groin injury in that one, and they're all out indefinitely. They're all going to be out for an extended stretch of time, so we could probably make a whole video on what the Raptors should do with all these players gone, missing, and we have a lot of people that need to step up. And tonight, Patrick McCaw was starting, Serge Ibaka was starting, and then we had our usual Lowry, Fred, and Anunoby. It was nice to see Fred back, and yeah, Kyle Lowry really stepped it up. He had 26 points tonight, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 7 of 14 shooting, 3 of 7 from the three-point line, doing all the Kyle Lowry things. And the one thing I've really liked about Kyle Lowry's game is how aggressive he was driving inside, because sometimes we see Kyle Lowry be a little bit passive in terms of shooting too many threes, settling, and he had IT on him for stretches in this game where the Raptors, they loved when IT's on the court. Isaiah Thomas, obviously, with his smaller size, his lack of defensive ability. You can even look back to when we had DeMar and Lowry. Every possession when IT's on the court, we'd just always set a screen and then have IT switch onto the ball handler and attack right away. And Lowry was doing a really good job of trying to get to the rim and attack and making nice dump-off feeds. And him and Serge Ibaka's chemistry, man, it's ridiculously good. So Kyle Lowry really gets Serge going, and now that they're both in the swing of things, I know when they both came back from injury, it was, neither of them looked very comfortable on the court, and probably the fact that Lowry wasn't comfortable, Serge Ibaka couldn't get his game going, but now that he's getting all those feeds, he had 23 points, 10 rebounds tonight, Serge Ibaka scoring in the paint, and honestly, I would have liked to see him be more aggressive. He knocked down 2 threes as well. When Serge Ibaka is confident flowing, and there's not many bigs on the Washington Wizards that can really stop him. Yes, Jan Mahimi's alright. I know I've heard some good things about Thomas Bryant, but he didn't even play in this one. They didn't have that size that could really match Serge Ibaka, and he shot a lot. He took 10 shots, but I wouldn't mind to see him shoot a little bit more, especially the way he was going. But OG Anunoby also stepped it up. He's been a guy that a lot of people have been looking at now that there's a lot of injuries to be an impact player, and he had 18 points tonight, 7 rebounds, and a lot of those came at important times. The points OG Anunoby gets are like momentum swingers, and down the stretch of this one, he was just attacking. It seemed like he was on the floor every possession, and he went straight to the rim. He was fearless. He tried to dunk on a couple guys going underneath the rim, and this is something I've been calling for with OG Anunoby. When he's confident, when he's aggressive, because he's such an athletic guy, right? And his handle has been shown that it's improved. When he's looking to go to the rim, we've seen it more over the past few games. He's been bringing out spin moves and a bunch of new moves in his arsenal this season. But when he's looking to attack and not just trying to be a 3-and-D player that lets, just swings it to Kawhi, or not Kawhi anymore, but Kyle, Serge, all the other players, when he's, obviously you want OG to be able to fit within the offense and not over dribble the ball like J.R. Smith or something, but I like it when he's aggressive. I like it when he tries to take over the game a little bit himself within the offense, and he definitely has the talent level to do it. He has the intangibles, and now that his handles are improved, paired with that great athleticism and size he has, that he's going to be a really impact player if he continues his confidence, continues feeling the game like he has the past few ones. So shout out to OG. He's going to have a much expanded role now that there's a bunch of injuries. All the starters played well tonight. Patrick McCaw, he's been a perplexing player for the Toronto Raptors. Perplexing player. That's a tongue twister, but he's been a guy that it's really interesting to watch him play, because he doesn't take over the game by any means. He's like a jack of all trades. He's good at everything. He can play defense, he can shoot, he can handle, he can drive, he can finish, but doesn't do anything to really catch your eye. He doesn't have any of those skills at an eye-popping level, but the fact that he does everything well and knows where to be and play as that 4th or 5th guy on the court, because that's a skill. Right, not having the ball in your hand. There's a lot of guys that are certainly more talented than McCaw, and you can even argue players off the bench for the Toronto Raptors are more talented than McCaw, but the off-ball skills that he brings to the table, I think, is the major reason that Nick Nurse looks at him as a guy that should be getting minutes to complement players like Lowry, Fred, Serge, who are going to have the ball in their hands for extended periods of time, and he's been showing he's a positive impact player. Yes, maybe sometimes it'd be nicer to have a Terrence Davis's ability to slash and all that in the court. Yeah, occasionally you can make an argument for that, but I think the way McCaw impacts the game is certainly something that should be recognized, and Nurse has recognized he had 34 minutes tonight, and people maybe expected that because he's not the de facto starter, it would have been more spread out in terms of minutes amongst him and bench guys like TD or Miller or someone, whoever will play the shooting guard, but nope. He got a lot of run out there, so shout out to McCaw. Obviously, Fred VanVleet came back from injury. Didn't have the most efficient shooting night, but hit his free throws, and I had a solid game. He's been out for a few games, and when you get out of your rhythm as an NBA player, it's tough to be knocking down the shots, like to expect him to be knocking down shots like that. So he's still at 18-8. That's a great game for Fred VanVleet. Shooting is going to get more efficient, but I'm not going to be worried about Steady Freddy. Yeah, but all the starters in double figures, that's usually a recipe for a win, but obviously the Wizards came back, and honestly, some people are going to be frustrated by the fact that we let the Wizards come back, and I'm kind of rushing through this because, to be fair, even though the Wizards came back, there wasn't a moment in this game where I was like, oh, the Raptors are going to lose. They blew it. I fully expected at all points that they were going to win this game, and yes, they let Davis Bertans have a couple of open threes down the stretch, and he's been a remarkable three-point shooter, and yes, they didn't play a perfect game, but when you start off at that level, it's tough to stay focused, and when you're a team the level of the Toronto Raptors and you don't have your main guys to get you an automatic point, it's going to be adjustment period, because with this roster they have now, with less talent, obviously with Norm, Gasol, and Pascal out for an extended period of time, they're going to need to be that gritty team possession by possession. They need to be hounding people 24/7, and when they let their foot off the gas, we saw Bradley Beal absolutely take over in the third quarter, and that's something the Raptors have shown they can adjust to. It's not something that I'm worried about, going to drop a bunch of games because the Raptors aren't going to grind it out. They've shown when they need to grind it out, they're capable of it. So I think this team will be fine. Look at the bench players as well. Chris Boucher came in, had a few he gave some solid minutes. He had 3 offensive rebounds, 4 points. His shots didn't really go in around the rim, but I thought he had a fine game. Didn't impress me. Solid game by Boucher. TD, he knocked down back-to-back threes. He made a really nice layup tonight. I wouldn't mind seeing him being a bit more aggressive. TD has a tendency to let the game come to him and then explode for stretches, right? That's the thing about TD. He's never really consistently looking for his game, and that's being a rookie. He's learning the feel for things. I think he has a really good feel in terms of he's not forcing anything at any point, but I think sometimes that gets the best of him in terms of when he's hot. I wouldn't mind him forcing a shot or two, and I think Nurse has told him that because occasionally over the past stretch of games, he hits one, he'll look to fire one up quickly, and then he'll kind of get lost in the flow of the game. But I think when he continues to get more game experience under his belt, he'll be fine. He'll figure all that stuff out. And yeah, the big guy we got to talk about off the bench, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 14 points tonight. Not a lot of rebounds, surprisingly, for Hustle Jefferson, but in 20 minutes, 14 points, 4 of 8 from the field. And actually, I'm going to save this for the segment, but Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, he's a guy that's going to really need to be leaned upon for the Toronto Raptors now. When Serge Ibaka was out, he was a guy that really sparked this team through the stretch of games where he kept getting wins, and he became Riker's favorite player, his aggressiveness, his tenacity. He's a guy that's going to need to be an energy player, and I brought up how the Raptors are going to have to live off their grittiness in order to get wins when we're playing probably better teams than the Washington Wizards, and I think Rondae's a guy that will be able to spark that, be a leader in terms of the grittiness, attack mindset, possession by possession. So if he's capable of getting buckets on top of that, it's going to be a recipe for success for the Toronto Raptors. Anyways, that's a lot about this game. There's not much to take away from this win, in my opinion. The Raptors got up early. They were hot shooting from 3, and then they took their foot off the gas a little bit and let the Wizards creep back in. But when you have Siakam, when you have those guys, you can do that and maintain a 15-point lead. We don't have that talent anymore. Those, our top 3. We don't have 3 starters in the lineup now. So we're gonna have to continue to pressure, continue to push, and not treat this like a regular Raptors game where we're full squad or even kind of down a couple men. But they'll adjust. Nurse is a good coach. The Raptors are a good team. Anyway, so we're going to swing it straight into the segments. Tonight, the spicy P-lay of the day. It's going to Serge Ibaka and OG Anunoby. Not sure who it was for the Washington Wizards. Came down the lane, and Serge Ibaka just absolutely swatted it out. And OG came down for a fast break. Yeah, when you get a block and a dunk, it's certainly going to be a prospect for the spicy P-lay. And tonight, that was it for me. But not all plays can be the spicy P-lay of the day, and some just make you say, oh, OGs. And tonight, the OGs play of the day. It's going to Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. Great game from him tonight. Got a lot of points, 14 rebounds, was real aggressive. But a couple games ago, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson took 2 open threes, and the coaches pulled him out. He didn't get any minutes after. He didn't get any minutes in the game after that. So I guess the team isn't looking for him to be a shooter, and looking at his percentages and all that, looking at his form, it makes sense why. But tonight, he was left completely on an island at the top of the break, and with Lowry saying, no, don't shoot it, with everyone in the gym thinking, no, don't shoot it, made a 3. Splashed down a 3. So shout out to Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, man, for splashing a 3. Maybe if he can get a 3-point shot going, he's going to be a legit NBA player. If he gets his jump shot rocking, he'll be an impact player for this team. So hopefully his jumper continues to improve. And finally, the infamous, the one and only Damari Carroll Gold Star Award, and it goes to the Toronto Raptors for having me sit through. Every time we play Ish Smith, that man just goes off. He just does something to completely mess up this team. He's an average NBA player. He's a player that can start on a team and you won't be complete trash, but he's not an ideal starter. He's usually regarded as a decent backup. And tonight, 26 points for him, 9 of 9 shooting. I don't know what it is about the Toronto Raptors, but he just comes to play every time he plays this team. It's like the Chicago Bulls curse. Left the Bulls, and now it's on to Ish Smith, and it's a mental thing where he feels he can just get buckets against this team. So, I don't know. The Raptors got to fix that. I don't want Ish Smith going off against us the next time we play. So, anyways, that's enough about this game. I've been rambling on way too much. What were your guys' thoughts? Some people might be frustrated. I know there were stretches in this one that weren't good, but I'm not going to get too caught up, too hung up over it. Raptors are down some players. They're going to have to adjust the way they play. You got to win. Win's a win. So that's how it be. Anyways, you're the best to make us far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. I'm signing out. Cheers.